This is Paul Soileau,
I'm Paul Soileau.
former resident at CentralTrak's Artist Residency in Dallas, Texas, returning next week for a performance at the DoubleWide in Deep Ellum. Paul, I
Hey.
understand you're coming back this week. You're going to do a performance in Dallas. This is going to be your first time back in Dallas since your residency earlier this year in January.
Yeah.
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 So, if I were to describe what you do, I would first say performance,
hmm
and that you're a trained actor. You do a lot of theater projects, but you're coming back with this character, Christeene, that you've done a lot of work with over the last 3 years.
Like 3.5, yeah.
Three
Going
and a half
forward,
years.
yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll be performing in Dallas for the first time as
Right.
Christeene. And we had talked about maybe, seeing Christeene later today.
Yeah.
We haven't decided yet. But, I thought, like, when you are engaged in this character, Christeene, it's so specific, and you don't break character. And the answers, the answers are Christeene's answers, which are like incredible and specific. But I wanted to talk to you about your art form today, and so I thought it would probably be easier to meet with you rather than Christeene today. But
Yeah.
we might still see her.
Yeah. Christine has done a Skype interview before, and it was
Oh,
really fun.
Christeene
So,
has a computer.
yeah.
Was she at the library?
Yeah. There was these two queens from Toronto interviewed me as Christine,
Yeah.
and they dressed up as well. So it was like these three creatures via Skype talking, and it was really fun. And, really, the outcome was very unexpected the way it
Yeah,
came
yeah. Well, now, when you came to Dallas to participate in the CentralTrak's Artist Residency,
out. Yeah.
it's different from, say, performing in a nightclub or a festival or something like that. And like, I wanted you to like understand how I felt about your art as a curator and how the importance I felt. Uh, Gosh, this is funny because you were worried about like the way that you might be able to talk about art, but like I feel like I get all clenched up talking about art, but I
Well,
do.
hard.
What's
It's
that?
it's hard. It's because it's a personal thing,
It
and I
is.
think
It is. And we're competing with academics who that is what they have to offer the art world is their eloquence, when
right,
our eloquence is actually sometimes manifested most in our work, and it's
right,
difficult for
yeah,
us to talk about our work.
amen.
Yeah. But I do think like you're a brilliant mind, and I don't think that Christeene would happen to a lesser artist. I feel like you consciously or unconsciously, I think intuitiveness is a specific type of intelligence that you bring to your work too as an actor, because it's emotional and you're feeling, and you know that's something like, this is so funny because this is like an interview with Paul Soileau, but Heyd's going to do all the talking.
No, I keep talking though, 'cause
But I was trying to explain to someone the difference between, say, making art and making illustration. And I love illustration. I see like fantastic works of art that are illustration, but I feel like the difference is in illustration, you have your concept completely worked out. You know what you want to say, and then you work at illustrating it. You work at manifesting that image that illustrates your concept, whereas art comes from the other direction, where you're manifesting something you don't understand maybe what it's going to mean, but you go about making it so that you can then see it, experience it, and possibly understand it.
right.
So
It-
I would put Christeene in that latter category.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Um,
spit on my screen.
um, I think, yeah, like you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know you don't know how it's going to be received. Um, it's very intuitive, and it's very, um, it's calculated in a way to where you have to you have to like you said, like how you kind of you know what your illustration's going to be, you know what your
Mm-hmm.
picture's going to be, and then you create it, and it's kind of like you kind of have to,
It's finite.
yeah, and you form it, you calculate a structure within your own mind, or I do, to get these things out of me.
Yeah.
When I'm writing a song, there's a specific theme to that song, there's a message to that song, there's something as an artist, something's bothering me, or something's making me very happy or inspiring me, and how am I going to take that emotion and put it on the canvas,
Mm-hmm.
a stage
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
video, and
Yeah.
so you just kind of uh, listen to it,
Yeah.
trust it, and but you again, like you don't know what the outcome is ever going to be,
Right.
or the response.
Yeah.
And I
So
think as long as
yeah.
you're not hurting, you try not to hurt any people on the way there.
Yeah.
You know, physically,
Yeah.
you can visually hurt them, you know, but it's like uh,
Yeah.
stick to the your beliefs that you were
Yeah.
raised on, and
Well, that is a funny thing that you bring up is the idea of the safety of your audience because Christine, while like a multifaceted character, has a degree of offensiveness
Mhm.
and maybe even aggressiveness or like showing, like not covering up a belch, like things that people like the way that they present themselves in polite society. Christine says, screw all that. Like, this is who I am. And like, I do exist. And I think that people like Christine do exist.
Well, and it's like how polite has society become? It's so polite and so apologetic right now. Everyone apologizes for everything they say. Lately, it's
I'm
kind
sorry. I'm sorry, Paul.
of, no, but it's like, it's like, there's, the thing I think, um, like you say, like everyone, there's this fear of, Christine offending things
Mm-hmm.
and people's beliefs and on the moral structure of
Mm-hmm.
our lives here in the United States. And what it really is like, um, it's springing forth from me, a guy raised in like small town in the South, and the
Mm-hmm.
structures that I was raised on of
Yeah.
your gender structures, your religious structures. Like I'm the same person sitting in the same seat as you and
Mm-hmm.
the same level,
Yeah.
and I'm simply listening to the questions I have,
Mm-hmm.
these structures that have been given to me,
Yeah. So,
and at the same time tapping into all of the styles of art as a performer that I
mm-hmm.
like to do,
Yeah.
and just kind of happen to create a perfect storm of
Mm-hmm.
the kind of entertainment I like to produce, which
Yeah.
is theatrical, film. I'm
Yep.
choreographing, I'm creating costumes, I'm creating personalities. So
You're
this
writing songs and creating text.
never did, like really wrote my own music. So this art form, this character,
Mm-hmm.
kind of made a space for me to really experience who I am, discover who I am as an artist,
Yeah.
and at the same time comment on things that I think we as people in this country all kind of
Yeah.
internalize and have inside of us.
Yeah. So you have a relationship to Christine to where like she does not feel like a foreign body, but I'm guessing an element of your own personality and maybe a record of your own life.
Yeah, I mean, but
Uh-huh.
there's also, yeah, um, it's a little removed. Mentally, it's definitely removed once you jump into it, but like uh, everything that comes out in that form that I've created are questions that I have for myself and for my environment and the world that I live in. And I'm simply listening. It's when you stop and listen to, to your gut and to these questions inside of you or these feelings inside of you about
Mm-hmm.
what the world is presenting to you,
Yeah. Yeah.
how you're processing this really
Yeah.
crazy media bombardment that we're all experiencing, and how our
Yeah.
lives are going faster and faster, and celebrities getting more and more
Yeah.
messed up, and who are our role models. So all of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I think is profound about Christine is that it confronts society about class
Mm,
and about how much
it's tricky.
yeah. Sorry, my door came open, but
Mm.
yeah, it is. It is, and I think people would like to think that these people don't exist. There aren't people that are perhaps like this forgotten, uh, unloved, um, marginalized, and kind of in constant like physical danger.
Mhm.
Uh, and you know, like the way that people say react to homeless people. You know, they're the homeless people. As I understand it, that there's like one of the sort of like worst elements of being homeless is the invisibility, is that people don't
They
acknowledge you.
deliberately turn
Yeah,
from you.
yeah, yeah.
They
They look
pass you
away. They
over.
might even give you some money, but they look away, and it's very hard for people to connect
Yeah.
when they're in this status. So tell me something. I know you probably have all types of interviews everywhere online, but
No.
like tell me about your background as an artist and like how you come to this place in your career where this is your work.
Well, I think like you were saying at the beginning of our conversation, how you brought me over to CentralTrak,
Mm-hmm.
and that you had this design in your mind to pull these things out of me and to put me with different people that you knew I would interact with.
Yeah.
Um, the same can be said for Christeene, this character, and in
Mm-hmm.
this form of work that I've never experienced before, that is kind of pulling things out of me, although I'm the one in control of it in a way. I'm
Right.
not 100% in control. I mean, we're not in control of this shit,
Yeah.
Uh, but it started like I started my in a humble background of like community theater,
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been a performer, but you jump in your first cubby hole that you're going to put yourself in, and it's like I'm an actor, I do theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's always community theater. Basically, like my roots are being the clown of the family and doing like community theater in a small town, really bad, and and I was always interested in artistic things, the painting and as a kid.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and then school was school, and then my education went towards like a theater education,
Mm-hmm.
and then the move to New York where you're supposed to go and pursuing the bullshit of headshots and agents and
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah. So you went on to auditions as an actor and
Yeah, but it was horrible. I mean, it's
yeah.
like I always knew that it was not.
Well, I think you're probably too creative
I just
to
didn't fit the
accept other
mold,
roles.
and I tried to fit like the mold of. I mean, you're so put into whatever grouping. Like this is you're a man. You're the leading male. You have the female interest, and like those are structures that um, I personally fight with all the time. So when I'm trying to get a job off of them, it was just I knew something wasn't clicking
Yeah.
inside myself.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working, and I couldn't play that game. And I can't to this day take a headshot. I just don't. I don't have eyebrows. I'm in transition into the next thing. It's like I can't capture what you want for this thing.
Yeah.
So it boiled down to more of a social life for me, and exploring other artists and other artistic environments,
Mm-hmm.
and that search of finding whatever the hell that isn't connecting with these traditional forms
Yeah.
of connection and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
running in.
Yeah.
So in New York, that's what New York did for me. New York was
Mm-hmm.
like a master's degree in drag, in the nightlife, and
Uh-huh.
I mean just anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your red light goes off when you know it's time to push that button and make that
Yeah.
mission work for yourself.
It's funny that you said that red light goes off rather than just that light goes off.
Oh, it's red. It's always red. Like the red button in the plastic case.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to develop. I mean, as an artist, you have to develop the courage to remove the plastic case from the red button.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been like I love the feeling of it, but it's when you decide to push that button, when you when things really start to connect within
Yeah.
yourself, and you start to understand
Yeah.
what you maybe should be creating.
Yeah.
You know that when you push that button, you can't stop that machine. I'm a firm believer in once you push it and the gears start moving, it's done. You never go back. And I think that it's been a succession of those stages of like when I left New York, that was a button I pushed, and I started
Mm-hmm.
developing that Rebecca Havemeyer character I do, and then when Christine appeared, I pushed that button, and more people are like, well, though you're a performance artist now, you're a performance artist now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't to this day still don't. I'm not that actor in New York doing headshots, and I'm not this performance artist.
Yeah.
It's the same exploration that you
Yeah.
allowed us
Yeah.
in the residency. It's the
Yeah.
same exploration I'm doing with myself as
Yeah.
a creator of work. I
Yeah.
don't.
And I think that's why we can call it a new form, is that you're walking this line between theater and performance art.
And
And
yeah,
I think it's fantastic. And okay, so along those lines, I wanted to ask you, if you, and this is, take your time answering this, but are there artists that you would say were influential, are artists that you really respond to their work and might have informed what you're doing?
there was a like. I'll always say Justin Vivian Bond,
Mm-hmm.
Kiki and Herb, and who is now just Justin Vivian Bond, the amazing cabaret performer, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a huge shift for me. Like that was when I was leaving New York, and
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to see Justin perform at Carnegie Hall, Kiki and Herb, and that's when I really realized I started questioning the rules of
Mm-hmm.
like, well, you don't have to be this to be at Carnegie Hall, and you don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
this to be successful in this kind of entertainment, or you don't have to throw a wig on and be a woman and have to perform in the back of a bar for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah,
Really, really opened up a lot of doors for me.
yeah.
A lot of film is inspiring to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was introduced to Jean Genet, that was really big
Jean Genet's work, right? Yeah.
work. And then, yeah, hello, girl.
I was like, when did that happen?
I was in New York and I met that image. A really big influence was Jean Cocteau.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was friends of mine in New York who were introducing me to these forms of art that I never got in like Charles, Louisiana. I never got them in New Orleans. I never got them in school,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
those people, like my friend Nick Mason, and he would just show me these films all the time of
Mm-hmm.
these. Oh my God! It just open doors. Open. You go out to a bar, you get drinks, you stay out all night, you get home, you lay on the couch, and show you a freaking Jean Cocteau film. I'm
Uh-huh.
watching Orpheus or something, and I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
is this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Film has always been more of an inspiration to me than say a painting or.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much trouble like sitting in front of a painting and feeling it. It's no offense, girl, but it's hard
No, none taken.
that way, and it's like
Yeah.
so. Those forms of entertainment a lot really do it for me. And whenever I think of a person like Justin Bond was really big, PJ Revol's really big.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, he's very tiny.
Well, yeah, ooh, girl, you're in trouble. Like in terms of turning what you do into
Yeah.
a living, breathing, functioning business and
Yeah.
respectful style of living. And
Yeah. Yeah. I actually really love the way that you're talking about your education continuing after school, and I feel the same thing, that like if I had just had an art career right out of school just based on what I was taught before I was 22 years old. Um,
well,
it's like you have to get out into the world. You have to live as an artist. That informs your work. You know, um,
but you can't plan that either. Like, it's not
right,
like I'm gonna get a backpack and go to Europe and spend the summer there and backpack. I mean, how many people have done that?
right.
Odd. And it's like
It's a
was like,
cliche.
I never did that, so I'm missing out on this piece of. I didn't do it. I just talked to my friend the other day, and I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, that's when I was backpacking in Europe, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do that, or
Yeah.
like, so it's really beautiful and inspiring when life and when the gods hand you that kind of creative path, and you
Yeah.
don't know it when you're in it either,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's kind of exciting as you. If it's right, you're just experiencing it, and hopefully you've got the capacity
Yeah.
to collect what you need from it and then process it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But and like you said, if I lived off of what I was educated on before I was 21, well, we'd be just like all the other damn people who are living off of
Right.
what,
Right.
because it's the same education.
Yeah.
And who's to say what education were they giving us that
Right.
related to us as like being a homosexual, or
Right.
who were my gay influences in high school? Please, like Morrissey,
Yeah.
like so we
Liberace.
have to, yeah. We have to. It is a continuous education for us as gay men,
Yeah.
and then
And a lot of our history disappeared because of the AIDS crisis.
yeah. So
We don't have the mentors that we would have had otherwise.
mhm.
But okay, so talking about some of the gay stuff, I also wanted to make sure that I talked to you about gender because um, in some of your press, you were saying like don't say drag and don't, and this happens with the trans community, like how do we define them and
Yeah,
how are we sensitive to these issues while at the same time not being so like blocked in by political correctness
yeah.
that it seizes up our artistic flow. But I mean, that's not. I'm just kind of babbling. I was like, that's a
No,
terrible
it
question.
those are
But
no. Like listening, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
those, and it's hard to ask a question off of this because while you're asking that question, you don't want to say something wrong, or
right.
you're
But
like, okay, we're in this is dangerous
why don't we
water,
say
and
this is a safe space? But the truth is this is going out onto the internet, and
but yeah, I think
it's the internet is not a safe space.
no, not anymore, girl. Like verbal bombs left and right, but it's like you said, talking about gender,
Hmm.
where I'm lying with that, and the different communities that
Hmm.
are like the trans community, like um, that are really now finding voice and face and uh, platforms within the communities to really speak and
Yeah.
recognize each other. So um, your first half, like the gender part,
Hmm.
is probably like the strongest font that is coming with that is producing this Christeene machine, this
Yeah.
creature, and I personally have a lot of difficulty with the rules of gender,
Hmm.
and it's not necessarily in the realm of am I male, am I female, um, where do I fit in? It's for me exploring the realm between those two sexes of like
Hmm.
being male, being a female. Well, I feel like I'm in the middle, and I'm a very cut in half. Uh,
Yeah.
my soul is like on both sides. So how do you destroy the structure of what it is to be a male that we were given without having to fully go over to the female side and find this middle ground? And I think it's so silly. It's the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in life.
Yeah. And continue to deal with.
It's very difficult, and people
Hmm.
think, of course, people look at your work and they assume that you're a certain way
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
your work. But when you really sit down and understand it, I think gender rules are
Yeah.
so strong and so heavy. So I'm always constantly battling the rules of gender,
Yeah.
and they're demons for me, but they're also amazing bursts of celebration whenever I can
Yeah.
have courage to knock a wall down
Yeah.
and build a new one, like my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not a wall, but build my own palace, big palace.
Take that wall and make you a cute little house.
I'm going to take the wall off of this one and fix it and make a new,
Yeah.
so that's something that's always evolving, and I'm always exploring that. And
Yeah.
in doing so, I get into trouble,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and when Christeene, go ahead. You
Oh,
say.
well, this is something that, like, okay, so say RuPaul's Drag Race. Now
Yeah,
America knows about drag queens, and little kids talk about drag. And there's something about the legitimacy of that. And that, like, it's like when homosexuals were completely invisible. And then, there was a homosexual, like, TV character, like on Will and Grace. And then, like, oh, everybody understands gay people and they're not afraid of gay people anymore.
Well, they
Also,
understand that kind of gay
right,
person.
it becomes very narrow and what their expectations of gay people are. And the same with drag. It's like people understand drag, but do they think they understand transgenderdom? And do they? Yeah,
Well, they're being handed a um, um, a form of drag or a form of
yeah,
gay, say Will and Grace, that is kind of safe,
yeah,
that is able to take place in your living room.
yeah,
With
yeah,
it's not threatening at all, and
right,
it definitely it's a piece of the spectrum of our community, but
yeah,
it's on television.
right,
It's being geared towards. It's being presented in a dominant straight society. So how
hmm,
far can we go with this? That's
right,
why Sharon Needles is so popular because it's still safe enough to be on your television,
hmm,
but it's pushing a
uh
little bit.
huh, uh huh,
I mean, look how the community reacts to Marilyn Manson.
hmm,
He's going to hell
right,
and the devil. But
yeah,
then you have Sharon Needles,
uh-huh.
who looks
Who is
just
also going to hell?
well, sure, but I'll meet her there. Sharon's going to hell, but Sharon looks like Marilyn Manson. Sharon
hmm,
does lip sync to Marilyn Manson,
uh-huh,
but Sharon's a clown.
right,
Sharon's
right,
a clown. Sharon's a drag queen, and I think that the presentation there it's so it's a sword that cuts both ways. Old John
yeah,
Crawford would say. So it's like you have this amazing person, RuPaul, who is a pioneer, who's had a talk show. I mean, remember he had a talk show, like,
yeah,
and like he was on the damn Oscars, and he's like doing. I mean, it's like RuPaul. It just keeps knocking it down.
hmm,
It's like hell yeah, and then you have also the safe product of
hmm,
what it's presenting
yeah,
in this new reality television based kind of situation.
yeah,
Um, so you're going to upset people on this end who don't like the safety of it, and
yeah,
you're gonna upset people on this end who uh, don't like big old men in wigs who are crazy, and you don't even
yeah,
look up that girl's background and like everything she's done because she's
right,
crazy
right.
shit.
And and so this is like in talking about art too, like it's very easy to provoke, but like I think there's an assumption with a lot of difficult art is that that's the sole purpose is to
Mm,
provoke.
yeah.
But yeah, and we understand, you and I understand that that's very limited and it doesn't, it's almost like a one line joke. Um,
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to be provoking is myself. It's like,
and
I,
that's primary that
yeah,
you are enjoying this and you're making this work for yourself.
and that's where you have to be blind to how it's going to be received.
Hmm.
Um, and with that, but you also have to have the intelligence or the intuition to not cause harm, and that's a broad term, but you know what I
Right,
mean.
right,
You have to be responsible as a human,
right, right,
fellow human, but you also cannot be worried about what effect this is going to have on
right,
people. And
right.
I think that with the Christeene stuff, coming from a background that I've never had to deal with this kind of thing,
Yeah.
I was first verbally attacked. It was really difficult and it was really scary. And it was an online attack, but it's like
Uh-huh.
comments, 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 comments,
Yeah.
reading this, and someone saying this about something that you made that's very personal. You're very
Yeah.
vulnerable.
It's a constant negotiation to take into account like what is socially acceptable, but what also like what the social structures allow is too limited, too old fashioned, too provincial. Um, so yeah, I think your work is important, and that's why I'm really drawn to your work with Christeene and
And I think, just real quick on that, like
yeah,
social
yeah,
structures, like there's the social structures of what we've grown up with, but there's also the social structures of the trans community. There's like that are new social structures. And I think that one thing about whenever people do get offended and they say that it's transphobic or homophobic or all these things, like in particular, the community that's questioning gender or transitioning between genders,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is a new community, and there are no set structures yet, and
Right.
many people are laying down those structures. They're
Yeah.
discovering how it is that they're going to be represented,
Yeah.
and when that happens, anything goes.
Right. Right.
You have to be aware, and you have to be
Yeah.
open to the fact
Yeah.
that anything goes. You must allow anything to go on that table because you've got to discuss it.
Yeah.
You've got to understand it or say this doesn't work for me, but you can't immediately say this is wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
when people from my own community come at me and say,
Yeah.
"This is wrong, you're presenting me in this way,"
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, we need to sit down and talk about this because
Right.
that's an important discussion.
Well, it makes me think about political correctness and how much that it was a wonderful period to go through because, the general public was really, say, quite insensitive and horrible before political correctness. But now it's that, say if you want to have a discussion about race, which are important discussions to have, does that make you racist?
Wow.
Because you might say something unpopular. You might say something in ignorance. And it's the same with gender. It's like, although, people still feel like they can take pot shots at gender and still present themselves very conservatively. But
Yeah.
that's not so much the case with race. But I do, that's what I think Christeene is provocative and does allow for a conversation around these subjects.
Yeah.
It should.
And it's also entertaining. It's like
Yes. Yeah.
finding that realm
Yeah.
between like this is really addressing some very important issues
Yeah.
and some very personal things within myself, but it's also entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's also
and some butt shaking music coming out of it.
you've got to
Yeah.
understand that it is still entertainment.
Mm-hmm. But entertainment should be deeper than it
Yeah.
is.
Oh my God! Like, well, the entertainment. That's one of the reasons Christeene exists is because what we have for entertainment right now is crap.
Yeah.
Like what we watch on
The
television.
Kardashians. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And not all of it. I mean, hell, not all of it. There's some
Right.
great shit on television.
Sure.
But
Sure.
when you sit down and make that good miniseries, there's some fantastic writing on
Yeah.
television.
Yeah.
But what the general
Yeah.
population here, what they're taking in is crap.
Yeah.
And it's the it's kind of like the death of so many things
Yeah.
entertainment that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so you have to. It is addressing that.
Yeah.
This is an attempt to make some real entertainment and have some depth and weight to it
Yeah. Yeah.
that will shake you up a bit. If it
Yeah.
does, okay.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then have a great time.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, so tell me, this is your first time playing in Dallas.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? Not what are you expecting? Well, yeah. What are you expecting, and what should we be expecting?
Well, I mean, I was able to live in Dallas with you and at the Residency, and we're playing at the DoubleWide, which is right down the street from you. So I got to hang out there, and I really liked the space.
Yeah.
Because it is like a big shithole.
Yeah.
It's country. They make drinks out of Yoo-hoo. But it's a space that's really important for Christeene to perform in.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to be put into a gay club. I don't like to be, like
Ghettoized. Yeah.
let's put it into a room where everyone's welcome. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I expect from Dallas is because of the people I've had the pleasure of meeting there from different fields.
Mm-hmm.
There's the art world. There's a bunch of queers there that I know. There's a bunch of, I don't know, happy rich straight people I know. And like we have an opening band. They're called Bitrot. 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 And they are really industrial goth. Kind of like, they're not like, but they're just, it's like the shaved head with the black hair. And
how'd you get connected with them?
Guys for DoubleWide booked them as an opening act, and I watched the videos and I was like, this is gorgeous. Like, because then...
Do they know Christeene?
I don't know. They might, maybe. But it's the kind of my favorite thing is when we do shows, the really good shows, is
Yeah.
when the audience is from every freaking
Yes.
corner.
Yes.
And I think about the group that Rock will bring in. I think about the
Uh-huh.
group that you will bring in. I think
Mhm.
about my friends in Austin who know people in Dallas who are
Mhm.
saying, y'all have to go see this.
Yeah.
And then you have this room that's like, what's going on here? And you have all of these people from social realms that would never communicate with each other,
Yeah.
communicating with each other, and
Yeah.
then you have magic, and then you
Yeah.
have the perfect space, and
Yeah.
that's been happening more and more. So I think, people are like, "Oh, Dallas ain't ready for you." I'm like, please. Like every city is ready for it. Every city needs it, and every city wants it.
Just put it down, Mona. It's fine.
But don't,
Sorry, Paul.
no, it's fine.
Oh, postcards. Yes. That's it. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Mona. Sorry, Paul.
Please. But like I'm like, there's never like, oh, they're not ready for that. It's like everyone's ready for it, and that's why they're going. They want some crazy, and they want. I never thought this because I didn't go to many shows in the early '90s and stuff. I just listened to music, but a lot of people say that a Christine show reminds them of the '90s,
Really?
and I was like, what the hell are you
Were they
talking?
on crack in the 90s?
No, girl, I don't know. Like it's basically this one woman who interviewed me was like, in the '90s, you would go see a band, and everyone in that room was from different areas of the
Oh.
community, and they were really going to experience this act, and they all shared a common thread through the enjoyment of this performance, and
Uh-huh.
that artist didn't communicate to a specific demographic.
Okay.
They were like in the '90s, like you would go to these shows, and I don't know, and it's something I didn't experience, but a lot of people have been saying that lately. Like there's this appreciation of standing next to this person you really not see in your normal walk of life,
Yeah.
and
Wh-
you're watching this show and listening to this creature on stage, who, because of this person's appearance and the sound
Uh-huh.
and the subject matter of the song,
Yeah.
and the physicality of what is attractive and what is not. All these things bring all of these people together. This is
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
experience.
I guess that sort of speaks to how much we're segregated in America in terms of lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like people in the suburbs probably, uh, you know, will not encounter anything like Christine except
But,
on television.
or yeah, they'll see it on the internet.
Yeah.
Be like, well,
Right. You're
I mean,
seeping in.
there's your balance. I mean,
No
that's
longer a
why
safe
PJ
place.
Paul and I make videos, and
Yeah.
that's another whole another side of this
Yeah.
form, but it serves as this wonderful little grappling hook that we can throw into your living room and pull you through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's another. There's all these nice little pockets that have formed with this Christine piece of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they all feed each other, and it's
Yeah.
all kind of just making it fully functional,
Yeah.
utilizing all forms of media without ever having a strategical plan to like, we're gonna get them through all of,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
make videos. I wanted to write music, wanted to do this, and
Yeah.
they all naturally, serendipitously happen. And then that's the strength of it,
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to stick to that ideal and continue to make the work without worrying about your next step and how your audience is going to take it.
Right.
And
Although you're probably always thinking
you, of
thinking
course.
about that, but maybe not. That's not your primary
No, I think the
thought.
hardest thing
Yeah.
and I think the most exciting thing I've recently discovered is how to continue this work and challenge myself
Yeah.
and inspire and like be inspired
Yeah.
and be moved by it
Yeah.
and be either brought to tears or get goosebumps and get these really strong revelations
Yeah.
about who you are, about the world. So if the day that this character stopped doing that for me, I would get rid of it, because then you're only doing it to keep it alive and to keep the audience happy.
Yeah.
It's fun to find a way to keep. A lot of people say like, I'm married to these ladies,
Yeah.
like Christine is a wife or a husband,
Uh-huh.
and my other character. All these characters you have a relationship with them,
Yeah.
and most people will tell you after 3 years, a relationship gets a little cold. I says the 3-month, 3-year thing. I'm not personally aware of this, But it was around 3 years when I was starting to get a little with Christeene, like, and my
Yeah.
friend was, oh, well, you're in that stage of the marriage where you have to decide, do you want to continue this marriage? Do you want to find creative ways to keep it alive and to be true to each other and inspire each other, or do you want to end it? And I was like,
Wow.
oh, like, yeah,
So
you
you're
know,
gonna stick it out?
oh yeah, hell yeah.
Hey, have you ever had a dream that you were Christeene? Are you ever Christeene in your dreams?
No, I've never been in a character in my dreams.
Uh-huh. That's so
Uh,
interesting. Yeah.
I don't even I don't think I've had a dream with them in it.
Somehow I thought about it because it's like when people study foreign language and they say they get really excited when they have their first dream in that language. And
Yeah, I don't think I'd be excited about a dream that was Christine.
you're like, oh, I need some distance.
I would be some rough times. I'd take on a vacation or something.
Hey, switching gears just a tiny bit, I wanted you to talk about a little bit about your time at CentralTrak.
Yeah.
And like how you used that time and how you found, and it doesn't have to be like a big PR spill
No.
either. Like, I'm not asking you to like, okay, now tell us how great CentralTrak
No
is.
way.
But
No,
I mean,
no.
I do hope it was helpful to you, but you don't have to
Oh,
blow it up. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was my first residency. I had the really good fortune of being brought there with PJ Raval, who I've been working with for like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I also had the good fortune of being thrown into a mix with Martin Lucas, which you designed. Thank God, like you
Yeah.
knew you were
Well, you're
playing,
kindred
playing
spirits.
puppet master there.
Mhm.
And it was when the thing I liked so much about the program was that you gave us a theme. I love working off of a theme, and especially the Old Testament that we were working off of. It was really good to have that kind of I hate to say the word structure, but like just to have that idea and that energy to work off
And
of.
a common project, and that we're all communicating and inspiring each other and helping
Like
each other.
For a first time residency, it was
Yeah.
like it was nice to have that,
Yeah.
What I got out of it was, well, hell, I mean, I got a new character out of it, it was really amazing to me as a artist to have that time to design your days and nights strictly around work that is creative work. To watch how our lifestyles started. It's like when women live in a house together in their periods and they all get the period cycle. Like our patterns started like creating these relationships. Like we were going to bed at the same times. We were waking up at the same times, and they were really weird times, And that was really exciting to watch us develop these relationships, these internal systems of our body patterns and stuff.
Yeah. And I know you've lived in a community of artists before because of your work in theater and with Rude Mechanicals.
Yeah.
Like you guys have, when you were in Los Angeles, just prior to the residency. Yeah. How long were you in LA? Like 2 months?
No, yeah, about a month and a half, I guess. Yeah. A little different because the residency, we were like in the same building. Like it was like there was the studio, there was your room. We maybe went out to eat. To DoubleWide if we could afford it, so which we could. And I don't know. It was really for me like it was so nice to be able to work day and night on these projects, and then creatively the work that we produced. To me, it was really special, and having like your guidance and your team of people there, inspiring and telling you, "Wow, that's good," or everyone could work off of each other and see what was working, what wasn't. But all in all, it was like it was some really.
Danielle's saying hi.
Hey, girl.
Do you want to come say hi?
I just was talking about her.
You were.
Yeah. Hey.
Danielle Giorgio. I know you know her, Paul, but just because we're gonna record this later.
Oh, hello, Danielle Giorgio.
Danielle.
Yeah. So we're gonna put this on Art and See.
Yeah, so this will be great. I'll make a random appearance.
So,
Get back there.
Thanks, Danielle.
Sally's gonna cover 1:30 for me.
Okay.
I just need an evening person because I have this relationship.
Okay. Do you have anybody you could talk to?
I'm
Sorry, Paul.
Please, you can just edit all this shit out.
Okay, great. I'll come see you in a minute when I'm done with Paul. Okay. That and actually, it's really funny that we keep getting interrupted because that's very much how it is here. It's like
That's an example of like, everything's just people are bopping down the halls.
yeah, it's like
But-
popcorn.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, really, like the work that we produced there was not only designed for the assignment you gave us,
Right.
but I mean, the work that PJ and I created is actually now something that we're going to continue to create. Like what we made there has now become an actual show.
Right.
That
Right.
character.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think I knew that.
We're going to start a web series of Reverie and Terry, and just like
Excellent.
and continue to address the issues that you presented to us,
Yeah.
because those things never end.
Well, you know, what's funny that happens in Dallas because Dallas is so known for its televangelist.
Well, yeah. So we created this weird this hybrid of a televangelist that isn't necessarily what you would want to follow. Still,
Is any of it?
but you can't say it's wrong because it's still saying what you believe in is right.
Right.
We're messing with it, and
Yeah.
it inspired it. We looked at it when we made that. We looked at it in the eyes of a televangelist or a God-fearing believer, and we were like, you know what? We were sick of these people on television telling you were going to burn in hell because you didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like let's twist it around and say we still believe in these things, and this is why you should do it in a very positive way. You should have sex with your father so that you can continue your family line if your mother's gone and you only have another sister. Like, of course you should have sex with your father, and like that's
It's
what
in the Bible.
told me to do. Like this whole idea of this destructive God.
Because that's how people are interpreting it.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah, and like, yeah, why do we need to take their word on it, their direction?
Let's the same message, but be very happy and very motivated and very positive about it, and really take it word for word.
Yeah,
Like they do. So that was the creative source of it.
yeah,
But now it's like, again, these are characters that you go on dates with, and then you eventually marry if they're worth the time.
yeah,
That character, both of that, I think PJ got hooked too. Like these characters we made, we miss them, and
Yeah.
it's like they're good,
Uh-huh.
and like so we want to continue making them, and we're building time within our schedules now in the next couple of months, but we're putting ourselves in the same environment that you did, to where it's like we're in a studio, we only have 3 lights,
yeah,
these props, like we're not allowing ourselves any budget, any
yeah.
like.
Sometimes those limitations make you so creative.
Well, that's what made that. I
And-
mean, you have to look at the original
Yeah.
form and say, like, it was made this way.
Yeah,
Let's work off of that. And
Yeah.
the work that PJ, like, God, the lighting and stuff he did with 3 clamp lamps and a couple of gels
yeah,
was amazing. So it's like, okay, so your residency created a whole new show and a whole new character and a new relationship between me and PJ, where he's in front of the camera, not behind it.
right.
So many things. And so
Because he was a tentative performer, right? He's
And put on a wig and a fake mustache and a crazy little outfit, and when your work can pull things out of you like that. you know?
yeah, yeah,
And then I was experimenting a lot with makeup and with manipulation of the face,
yes,
which is something that's kind of been interesting me. So I was able to explore, creatively clowning with makeup
yeah,
and restructuring the whole way I look
yeah,
with simple tools.
yeah,
And it proved successful for both of us and what we were kind of working with. So
yeah,
all you can do now is continue to explore that. So
yeah.
the residency, if anything, gave us
Yeah.
that for sure, which
Yeah.
is a
I wasn't expecting to have that kind of I feel so proud that
a big head.
I mean, that's what I would hope for as a director here and
Yeah.
programming artists is that you would have a completely different artistic creative experience here,
Yeah.
and that it would go out into the world and proliferate. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really it did a lot of wonderful things,
Yeah.
and I love collaborating and stuff. So
Mhm.
I can say that the environment that you put us in was really it's an environment that I can be very productive in.
Yeah, yeah,
again, like, so when I'm alone, like when PJ left
Mhm.
and it was just me there, I had a much more difficult time
Of course.
creating, and so you as a director arranged the right people, put them in the
Good.
right place, and I think your instincts proved fruitful. Would you say
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Fruity.
fruity and fruitful? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think you made
Yeah.
smart decisions and good things.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm very happy with that. And you're coming back to Dallas, which
Yeah,
is
so
cool.
it's good to come back. It's
Because
like,
you know that's part of the mission with the residency as well, is that we introduce new talented people to Dallas. They somehow foster a relationship with Dallas, and then they're part of our world community. So yeah,
yeah.
very excited.
Good.
Hey, I
Yeah.
hate saying goodbye because I'm having such a fun time chatting with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I will talk to you soon then.
Okay. I love
Thank you
you.
for doing this interview. I love you too, Paul.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.